I'm back in the UK. I'm pretty jet lagged, but hopefully I'll be able to get this video up in time. A big thank you to all my supporters on Subscribestar and Patreon who allow me to work on this channel. You're all very appreciated. So recently, while I was editing a video for my media review channel, I was looking for something just to listen to while I was doing the kind of boring job of dragging clips into the right place, and I found this drama video. And that's not usually the kind of content I gravitate towards, but I just wanted something to listen to, so I decided to check it out. And lo and behold, the drama was that a woman was being bullied and harassed by a trans ideologue YouTuber called Essence of Thought. And I've actually responded to Essence of Thought before, but not for ages. To put into perspective how long ago it was that I last responded to Essence of Thought, it was back when I didn't show my face on this channel. It was back when I didn't consider the main focus of this channel to even be the trans identity debate. It was so long ago that in the video I refer to getting £50 on Patreon as some kind of future lofty goal. I actually don't think the video is very good, despite the fact it got 11,000 views, so one of my more popular ones. One of the points I make in the video is that I dislike Essence of Thought on a personal level, because Essence is the kind of person to start and then perpetuate and exacerbate YouTube drama in a way that is often incredibly cruel and callous. In fact, while I don't love the video overall, one of my better points was that the best way to deal with Essence is probably just to be intentionally wrong so that you bait Essence into responding to you in the most toxic, hateful way possible, so everybody will end up on your side anyway. Anyway, so I watched this video by VangelinaSkov, and I'd recommend that you watch it too, even though it's quite a tough watch because Vangelina seems so sweet and kind, and the things that Essence has put her through are absolutely disgusting, including at one point implicating Vangelina in the sexual assault of children.
They said that they were raped as a child, and that because of that they're even more disgusted with my actions. It's really, really unfair to try... Sorry, give me a second. I'm gonna stop this so I can stop. It's really unfair to try and associate me with something awful and criminal that happened to you as a child, that also happened to me as a child, because I wouldn't give you money.
Absolutely sickening and despicable. And just gross. And Vangelina is so kind and so sweet that she's actually still trying to be sympathetic to Essence throughout the video and trying to explain things and, you know, taking some of the criticisms in good faith, even though they're not in good faith at all. And it's honestly kind of not nice to watch somebody who's so sweet and so kind have to actually engage with these criticisms. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Essence seems like the kind of person who's not worth anybody's time at all, and is certainly not worth getting upset over. Although on the off chance you're watching this, Vangelina, I can completely understand why you got upset, because Essence is, like I say, a really horrible, toxic person who has a history of going after and bullying women who disagree and express any kind of, you know, even minor infraction from Essence's perspective. And, you know, I can understand even being scared based on the way that Essence is so obsessive with slandering and stalking anybody in the past who's, you know, through, again, like I say, the most minor insignificant thing, somehow made an enemy of this complete psycho. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about Essence of Thought that much because, like I say, I really don't think Essence is worth anybody's time. Certainly not worth my time. Not worth my time to actually go through the accusations. You can watch the video and by all means send love to Vangelina and let her know that these accusations are nonsense and no one's taking them seriously, although I think everybody's already kind of aware of that. You know, I'll say to the kind of wider trans community's credit, even people in the trans community do not like Essence, so we're all pretty much in agreement there. I don't want to waste any more time talking about this person. But this got me thinking, you know, while we can ignore them, the fact remains that there are some people out there who are complete narcissists with incredibly toxic attitudes, and you can't help but feel kind of powerless when these people are out there and they're attacking anybody who dares disagree with them. And it's especially, you know, concerning when these people who have this attitude also hold to some obviously false beliefs. This video is actually going to be heavily building off my recent video about honesty in trans discourse, and specifically the part where I talk about Dan Olson's video in Search of a Flat Earth, where he makes the point that's quite easily summarized as that it appeals to people who are kind of narcissists and who value power more than anything for them to hold to obviously false ideas, because it allows them to believe that their ego and their will is so strong that it can actually override the idea of truth and reality itself. Basically, these people love to dominate others with their will, so it makes sense that they would extend that to even wanting to dominate truth itself with their will. And by contrast, they're not going to like the idea that the truth is something to which they are beholden, that actually carries with it the obligation to believe that which is true, which is of course what most normal people would automatically take as just the standard thing you should do whenever you find that your beliefs are at odds with reality, because most people would be like, well, of course, yeah, if my ideas are wrong, I'll change my ideas. But someone who's obsessed with the idea that their will is powerful and is obsessed with, like I say, dominating others, they're not going to like the idea of being beholden to anything. And while I did say we should ignore these people mostly, I think it is important to take at least an indirect stand against these people. And that's when I arrived at a new maxim, which I'm presenting for your consideration. And this is it. When at all possible, believe things or consider things to be a matter of objective truth rather than subjective opinion. What I mean by this is there are some areas where you could credibly argue that a debate is subjective. Just off the top of my head, I don't know, something like maybe trans identity, where there are people who will say that ultimately your gender identity is just about a subjective sense of your own self, and therefore you can't actually be wrong about it. If you say you're a man or a woman, that's just kind of an opinion you're saying about yourself, almost like a preference, basically. But there are other people, like me, who would say that the established usage for words carries with it a sense in which we can objectively say that people are using words wrong. If you tell me that a potato is a telephone, I don't care how you're using those words, you are making an objectively false statement about reality, just as false as somebody telling me that the sun revolves around the earth. And likewise, if you tell me that a biological male can be a woman, my belief is that you are being, in saying that, as objectively wrong as if you were a geocentrist. Now, I could and will elaborate on this through the many videos that I make on this channel around this topic, and to a significant extent I already have in my other videos on this channel, but obviously I'm going to try and keep this video short. I'm just going to say, hopefully for now, we can all at least kind of see that there is a sense in which somebody could believe that the idea of being a man or woman, it's just a subjective thing, and we can also, I hope, understand how it is someone could believe that whether you're a man or woman is an objective thing, and you're actually making an objective claim about reality in saying that you are a man or a woman. And with that said, my argument is that insofar as we have a choice about what ontological presuppositions we want to adopt when it comes to whether or not a question is a matter of subjective opinion or objective reality, we should always choose to prefer the answer or explanation of it being about objective reality, because that allows us to push back against the worst kinds of people, the people who would rather everything be subjective, because that means it's just about your individual will, and these are the kinds of people who want to use their will to dominate everyone around them and even try to dominate reality itself. I think a good analogy here would be to meta-ethics. So there are some people who think that if I say that murder and genocide and all those other terrible things are wrong, and you're a bad person if you do them, that's just my opinion. And if somebody else says, actually, no, I think those things are great, I love doing those things, I love murdering people, so on and so forth, then I can tell them I disagree, but ultimately me telling them I disagree is no different from me telling them that I disagree about, a favorite color or, a particular type of food. Basically, it's just a matter of subjective personal taste that I dislike murder. Now, there are some people who treat the idea of ethical subjectivism as if it would completely just end the world and no civilization could possibly function with a presupposition of ethical subjectivism, which I don't entirely agree with. There's no reason why you couldn't just say that I think murder is wrong, and I think people who do murder should go to prison. You can say all of that, and you can enforce it, because of course there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to enforce it, because if you think you can enforce it, you can. That's how ethical subjectivism works. But what you can't do is say, when you send someone to prison for murder, we're sending you to prison because you did something objectively wrong, that it is a fact that you did something wrong. You can't say, even if someone did the worst thing in the world, you can't say, we're sending you to prison or we're punishing you because the fact is that you did something bad. Rather, you're kind of left having to say, well, we're sending you to prison because we think murder is wrong, and maybe you think it's great, but we've kind of arbitrarily decided that our will is what matters and our beliefs are what matter, and that's why you're going to prison. And I think with this in mind, most people would probably agree that we should want ethics to be objective. Now, obviously something can't be true just because we want it to be true. That's not a very rational way of thinking about the world. But we can acknowledge that one reality would be better than another reality. And I think a lot of people would feel that if we can say that right or wrong, these are objective things, these are facts. If you do something evil, it's a fact that you've done something evil. A lot of people would, I think, argue that is a better thing to believe than to say, well, if you've done something evil, I don't like it. It goes against my personal moral judgments, but maybe it's not wrong for you to have done that. I think most people would say that if we could have a system of meta-ethics that would allow us to believe in objective morality, then we should jump on that opportunity. And if it's kind of a 50-50, we're like, I kind of find this argument convincing for meta-ethics. And then it's kind of like, you're almost one way or the other, you should lean towards wanting to believe in the idea of objective morality. Now, I'm not an expert on meta-ethics, so I'm afraid I can't offer you a concrete conception of meta-ethics that would offer up the idea of morality being objective for you to jump on board with. But I have, on this channel, and outside this channel, spent a long time looking into, thinking about, studying, and interrogating the questions surrounding trans identity as it relates to the philosophy of language and of phenomenology and ontology, and I could even say that I think I'm something of an expert on that topic. So I think I could offer anybody watching this video a conception of the categories of man and woman where they could say that these are describing objective realities about the world. And if somebody says, well, I'm a woman despite being biologically male because I say so, and because I say it, that makes it true, you can say to that person, nope, you're wrong. And as I've said several times now, if I'm able to offer that, you should want to believe it, because there is social utility to believing it, in that it enables us to better and more effectively take a stand against narcissists. Now, I do appreciate some people might be thinking, oh, hold on a minute, isn't it the opposite? Surely believing in objective truth is more tyrannical because it allows you to say that what you believe is objectively true, and that seems more forceful. And, it allows you to kind of say to somebody who disagrees with you, you're wrong. Whereas, and, isn't that a bit tyrannical? Isn't that a bit harsh? Surely it would be, more kind of liberal and less tyrannical to say, oh, it's just a matter of subjective opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Surely that is the less tyrannical state of affairs. Well, in short, no. Because if you say something is objective, you're not saying that something is objective because you say so. you are appealing to a higher authority than yourself. That is the nature of things being objective. If I say 2 + 2 objectively equals 4, I'm not saying I have any power to change that. I am completely powerless in that state of affairs. I am appealing to an objective truth that is above me. And, people have different conceptions of where exactly the objective truth of mathematics lies. But the contrast is, if you say that instead things are subjective, then what you are saying implicitly is that there is no authority higher than yourself. Now, there is all sorts of kind of complex political philosophy when dealing with the wider implications, kind of social implications of this question of subjective versus objective. But, I'm just going to sidestep all of that and end this video by talking about the Glorious Revolution of 1688. So when I was in my first year of university, I took a philosophy of political thought module, and for one of my assessments, I wrote an essay on the importance of an objective standard for rationality in ensuring a meaningful notion of freedom within a government. And in that essay, I gave a specific example to demonstrate my overall point. Imagine two societies. In one society, you have a government that comes out and they institute a whole load of restrictions and regulations when it comes to cars. And these restrictions are based on making sure that the car is environmentally friendly and sustainable, and it doesn't, pump out pollution, but also safe, that it matches certain safety standards. And in the other society, you have a government that comes out and says that there are going to be no restrictions, no regulations about what car you can own at all, except it can't be red because the leader of the government dislikes the color red. In this analogy, of course, the people in the first society are more free because despite the fact that they are subject to more rules and regulations, these rules and regulations aren't based on the arbitrary whims of the leader, of one leader, but are instead based on obviously common sense, rational policies. I've said before that if there were to be a British equivalent to 4th of July or Bastille Day, then it should be Hague Day, which is to say October the 10th, when William III signed the Hague Declaration. See, the Hague Declaration was written to condemn the reign of James II, and it says exactly, "We cannot any longer forbear to declare that, to our great regret, we see that these councillors, who have now the chief credit with the king, have overturned the religion, laws, and liberties of these realms, and subjected them, in all things relating to their consciences, liberties, and properties, to arbitrary government, and that not only by secret and indirect ways, but in an open and undisguised manner." And it goes on to say later, "And whereas no nation whatsoever can subsist without the administration of good and impartial justice, upon which men's lives, liberties, honours, and estates do depend, those evil counsellors have subjected these to an arbitrary and despotic power." Now, for me, this declaration encapsulates one of the core pillars of my own personal political philosophy, and it expresses ideas that I would love to see germinated within wider British political culture. This is why, unlike all the normal guys who learn about and obsess over Rome and World War II, I am the one weirdo who's really obsessed with late 17th century and early 18th century England. But the point is that England, which literally invented freedom and liberty and exported those ideas to the rest of the world, refined that idea themselves in the Glorious Revolution, where they declared that the worst thing would be to be subjected to a ruler or, a group of rulers who believe that their personal subjective whims are sufficient basis for the laws of the land rather than some objective standard. And I still believe that to this day, from the most powerful tyrant to the small, insignificant little toxic YouTubers, the best way to position yourself to stand against people like that who think that their subjective will has the power to dominate others is to instead confront their subjective will with objective reality. Essence of Thought is a bully. Essence of Thought has bullied many women on YouTube for any sort of minor infraction dreamt up. And while we can't stop bullies existing. What we can do is adopt a mindset that will best position us to oppose the mentality of bullies. And the mentality of bullies is, what I say goes, and you cannot tell me that I am wrong. And that's why I'm quite proud to say that in my videos, I think I offer up an intellectual foundation for opposing a particular set of beliefs that are popular amongst those who seem to be disproportionately found on one side of the trans identity debate. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Quite a short one. Hopefully I've got this up on time. Basically, I was flying, and I guess I probably don't need to tell you that flying can have implications for your sleep and stuff like that. So sorry if I look tired. Sorry that I haven't really done my hair to the same extent I usually do. Like usually I put a little bit of product in it just to give it some, volume and stuff like that, but I didn't do that this time. Anyway, so if you like this video, of course, you can like, comment, share, subscribe. And the other thing you can do, you absolutely can do this, is you can give on Subscribestar and you can give on Patreon. And not only that, you can give even a very small amount, such that you possibly wouldn't even notice it being missing. But to me, it would be a tremendous help in allowing me to continue to bring these videos to you. And that's that. In fact, probably the next video I record will be the bonus video that I said I will make for patrons, because, obviously if people and Subscribestarians, I don't know what they're called, but yeah, the people who support my content, awesome, really appreciate that. And I said, I want to do something for them. So, there's an incentive there. So that's probably the next video I'm going to record. And then probably the next video after that will be a video where I kind of do a little intro to my Patreon and my Subscribestar and all my plans there, because that's something that heretofore I've been neglecting. They always give you an option on these kind of crowdfunding websites to say, hey, make a video to introduce people, who you are and what you're doing. I thought maybe I should actually do that. If I'm going to be telling people to, go give, I should at least put the effort in to make a video kind of just explaining, why that's important and why I appreciate it. So there we go. That's that. I guess we're done. I will see you all next Wednesday.